Come, let us explore meat versus plants. Which helps you meditate better? Together, let us relaxingly recite. In late-stage capitalism, there are many who have a vested interest in keeping us locked in the frenzy of various iterations of the kill or be killed mindset. Come, let us wax subversive. For although the United Nations explained it would take $6 billion to end world hunger, compassion is not an exclusive club with an entry fee or a two-drink minimum. In fact, some of the most compassionate things we could do merely involve our consumer choices. 50% of the Buddha's Eightfold Path is comprised of the mental kindness of intention, the interpersonal kindness of communication, the physical kindness of conduct, and the circumstantial kindness of commerce. However, there is nothing kind about using our consumer choices to coerce an underpaid worker, to exploit, no less slaughter living beings because we want a snack. On average, worldwide, every day, a vast ocean of sentient beings is murdered. More than 900,000 cows, 1,400,000 goats, 1,700,000 sheep, 3,800,000 pigs, 12 million ducks, 202 million chickens, and hundreds of millions of fish. Each of them yearning to live and not die just like us. Through the convenience of a cruelty-free diet, we get to exercise greater compassion to the environment, to non-human animals, and, if we consume a whole food vegan diet, to this very body, which supports our meditation. And even though we could watch the video Dominion and 101 other videos that could pull at our heartstrings, remember, we are already wired to love. Every time we put a rabbit and an apple in a playpen, the human child always pets the rabbit and eats the apple. We are natural-born herbivores. It is only our amygdala that makes us aggressive. And the more we authentically practice mindfulness and meditation, even as little as once every 12 hours or so, the more we'll calm the anxiety and aggression of our survival-oriented amygdala and stimulate the empathy of our anterior cingulate gyrus, which is why the Buddha taught mindfulness and meditation. Having completed our opening lesson, it's time for us to now shift gears. It is Yoda Monday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is the Dzogchen Semde Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I have harnessed my autistic special interests as well as my ADHD hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I can become your personal, nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. For the remainder of this morning's live stream, we could play with the latest iteration of very easy meditation practice text, or sadhana, if you're nasty. As we go through life, we have the choice. Well, I don't know if you're a big old hard rock geek like myself, but back in the 70s, every rock and roll countdown ended with Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven. And Robert Plant saying that there are two paths you can walk on. Those two paths are Yin's spiritual matriarchy, paved with being flexible, loving, rational, laid-back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind, or Yang's religious patriarchy, paved with being rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. The choice is more neurological than psychological. And basically, we have a choice. Do we cooperate with the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems comprising our Buddha nature? Or do we compete against them by actively focusing and over-focusing and over-analyzing in reliance upon our medial and dorsolateral prefrontal cortex? Overworking the front of our brain not only increases the probability of us presenting with the symptoms of depression, it also triggers our amygdala, the seat of anxiety and aggression. Good news, neither the amygdala nor the prefrontal cortex constitute the entirety of our central nervous system. Case in point, every time we inhale, we are already wired to automatically access our sympathetic nervous system ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord. This bad boy has evolved to help us to notice in a very special way. To help us to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. Every time we exhale, evolution has wired us to automatically access our parasympathetic nervous system, divided between the lower third as well as the upper third of that same spinal cord. This parasympathetic nervous system has evolved to help us to physically relax and mentally release to such a degree that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, and less defining. That's right. When we cooperate with our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, it calms our amygdala and stimulates our anterior cingulate gyrus, which functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy, which is the root of both compassion and love. But remember, passivity counts. So how do we passively cooperate with our sympathetic as well as parasympathetic nervous systems? It is totally easy. We silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation. And we silently as well as mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during each exhalation. So sit as comfortably and sustainably as you can and practice along with me. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist philosophy or meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I tend to check for questions approximately once every 12 minutes or so. And now, together as a team, let's practice.